Hey everyone, hope you are doing good. Welcome back to our channel. My name is Harps. I'm here from Harper and Cube Opticians in Cheltenham. Today I'm in the store. Look at the store. Yeah, recognize this? The store again. I'm here to do some admin and catch up on post. And I'm here talking to a good friend of mine who is a family nutritionist. Her name is Kate Dimmer, and she's here talking about nutrition, what she's been doing for families and how she can help people in lockdown at the same time as well. Please excuse my alarm. It's now giving me notice that I'm now cutting out on sound, which is not so awesome. The volume and the battery is running out on it, so yay, not so great. As you know, our why is help people feel great about themselves, give them the confidence to conquer their world. In this series of videos, we talk to people about who do the same thing in their field of expertise. So how are people doing that in other worlds? I'm talking to them about how doing that in more detail. So without further ado, introduce across to Kate Dimmer from Kate Dimmer Nutrition.
Hello, hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good, really good, thank you.
How are you finding lockdown?
Not too bad my end. I think I'm lucky because my kids are really happy at home and sort of left to their own devices. I'm assuming they're doing something useful. And business, actually I'm really lucky because I can work from home. I can see people online or I can talk on the phone. I prefer phone actually. So yeah, I'm kind of similar to normal actually. So
Not been like a massive hit for you in that respect. You can still maintain some stuff in.
There's been a bit of, I'm definitely seeing few people at the moment, and new people. I think that people have been tightening the purse strings a bit because obviously things are a bit up in the air, aren't they, in terms of finances. But I am still seeing people coming in and keeping in touch with my regular clients, and yeah, so I'm still keeping busy.
That sounds good. That sounds good. At least you can make some kind of a contribution and help people.
Yeah, and I've been doing loads of I love my social media, and you like doing this as well, but I love my social media. I've been doing loads of blog posts, and so I think since about March kind of time, I've been blogging about, you know, how you can support your family's immunity, you know, what to eat to sort of manage weight in lockdown, and you know, I've been trying to post things that will be supportive to people, like right here, right now, what's relevant to during the lockdown, because people do still want to look after themselves, and people want to make sure that they're as healthy as they can, really, don't they? So so that's kind of keeping me busy as well.
Okay, that sounds good. At least it's good that you can still maintain some kind of a relevance to what's going on right now, and you're able to adapt to situation. Actually, it's good to say for how can you help with immunity, that kind of blog post, and that it's really relevant. People who do want to make that difference but they don't know where to begin, how do you find something like that? So
exactly, and it's accessible to everyone because it's free. It's, you know, people can scroll through and look at posts about that, and you don't have to support your family immunity. You don't have to spend loads of money or do something unusual. It's just little things that you could maybe bring in or change slightly. So
that's good to know. That goes easily into my nicely. Well done. Into my next question. What made you enter the world of family nutrition? What made you go into something like this?
Well, I've always been interested. I've always loved food. I've been, you know, family or sort of home cooks and things like that. So, you know, in a conversation around the dinner table, we're all like umming and ahhing, talking about food all the time. And then I was actually a teacher before, but it didn't quite feel like I found my true thing, my true vocation, really. And I knew I wanted to work with food or something like that, and I was really interested in nutrition, and I was getting quite opinionated about it and really sort of wanted to know what the truth was, because actually there's so much misinformation, isn't there? There's lots of contradictory stuff, and I just wanted to do a course for my own information. I didn't actually even think about it as a second career, but I ended up choosing a good course. It was an accredited course at Worcester University, Masters. And I thought, oh, I'll just I won't do the masters bit, I'll just do the PG dip, I'll be all right, you know. And I just took it literally a bit at a time, and before I knew it, I'd done this whole masters. Awesome. And I think as well, being a parent, it really dawned on me that when I was weaning my daughter, my first daughter, who's now 14, I found that you could get these lovely organic sort of pre-prepared foods, and it would say on it, you know, no artificial colours, no artificial preservatives, no this, no that. And it dawned on me, I thought that it's telling me what's not in it, but what's actually in it? You know, is there any goodness in this food?
Okay.
And so it really it was like a little light bulb moment as well at that point, and that's when I started being interested in it. But now when I actually finally got around to training, I was almost nearly 40 and my kids are a bit older, and I think that being a parent, it just makes me feel like it's really, I really want to educate my kids and my whole family about looking after ourselves, like the whole way, you know, like looking after ourselves mentally, physically, everything, and encouraging this kind of interest in food and how it can really support you. So yeah, just coming from a sort of mother point of view, really thinking, right, I want to do the best for my children. I want to nourish them. I don't want them to have medication all the time, and you know, I want to support their health as best as I can with food. So that's kind of where that family interest came from, just basically from being a mother myself, really, and having friends of like similar age, sort of asking questions like, what can I feed my kids, and you know, that kind of thing.
There's definitely a lot of guilt that's attached when you are doing weaning, and there's a lot of judgment that can be thrown around at the same time as well. I can remember quite vividly making like fresh carrots and sweet potato from scratch at like 9:30 at night, making it in batches, sticking it into ice cube tray, sticking it in the freezer, then defrosting it and thinking, yeah, I'm the epitome of being a good parent. But, you know, you have this thing where you want to give them the best, you want to give them the best possible start. But then there comes a point where you're like age 2.5, 3, you're like, you know what, I've done what I can. And then suddenly other influences start coming in when they go to nursery, for example. And I remember being, this sounds stupid, really upset when they first had ketchup at nursery. And I was just like, what do you mean you give them ketchup? I've never given them ketchup. They've had an all right life without ketchup. What the? Why? And I was really upset, you know, thinking about salt and sugar in this. But don't get me wrong, I like ketchup for the next person, but not for my 2-year-old. And I remember thinking, okay, this is a minefield that I can't necessarily control. And I can't control the agenda on something like this. So I had to let loose on some of it. But it didn't come without having any guilt attached at the same time as well.
That's the thing. Yeah, we definitely have to promote balance, don't we? Because even as adults, you know, we want to say nourish ourselves with good food, but we also want to be able to have a glass of wine with our friends and like eat chocolate, or, you know, enjoy something, watching a film, or, you know, we want to have that relaxed, you know, attitude. We don't want to have to constantly be judging what we're eating and worrying about it too much. But yeah, I totally agree. With kids, it's really difficult. You kind of like, it's like a no-win, really, because if you're really, really strict about what they're eating, it doesn't necessarily prepare them for the real world where they're going to get exposed to all sorts of foods. But then it can feel like, oh my goodness, I didn't want my child to have, you know, sugar before the age of 1, which is what happened to my child at nursery. But you kind of have, like you say, you kind of have to let some of these things go and just do what you can at home, and then you just educate them as they get older, and then they can make their own choices, because they're going to be an adult a lot longer than they're a child, and then they can make those sort of sensible choices themselves.
That's a really good point. I never thought of it from that point of view, where they're going to be an adult longer than they're going to be a child. And actually, if you give them the information, you give them that choice. We're talking to our kids now while we're in lockdown about sugar. I've got 5-year-old twins, and we're talking about how they can have, even if you want to have a chocolate, you can only have 1 piece a day, and it's up to you when you want to have it. You can't have it at breakfast, and you can't have it before bed, but in between the window, you can have it, some form of a chocolate or a treat or something. And because they know that they can have that, and they've got like some kind of a boundary, they're okay with something like that. Is if we said you can't have any at all, I think they would be even more upset that they're going to miss out. And then that's when they're going to, like, pig out, or they're going to eat the whole box rather than actually, can I have 1 chocolate today? Yeah, of course you can. Here you go, have a little bit or whatever you want. And I found it easy to control in my head that I wasn't feeling like I'm depriving them, because I grew up in chocolates, and hey, I turned out all right. Well, I've got a really bad sugar giving, actually. I really
apart from that,
we'll discuss that later. And you know, it didn't kill me, but there's got to be some kind of I don't mean not giving them a childhood, but giving them some kind of a funness to it. You can with other forms of sugar as well. You absolutely can. That was just what I had in my head about what it was going to be okay to kind of control that narrative a little bit as well. I think I'm making sense in my rambling.
And it's really good with kids. You kind of have to like make them feel like they're in control.
Yes,
they love that.
Yeah.
So, you know, giving them that option. Like now, my kids are older than yours, so I've got a 14-year-old and a 12-year-old, and they make their own lunches. and they love that. The thing they like about that not being at school, because at school they have school lunches and they choose what they have, but they don't choose stupid things, because they kind of like choosing things that are nourishing, but they still love, like you say, chocolates and crisps and that kind of thing, but they kind of have, there's an outer boundary about when we have those things.
Yes.
And they know that they are going to get those things at some point. They it's never off limits, but there's just, on a day-to-day basis, this is the kind of things that we do. So, I've always used to say, well, as you go through the day, think about, are you eating, or have you had 5 a day, something like that, and give them the control. And they kind of like that. They kind of like having that control, don't they?
I think that's really empowering, to give your kids a choice and to treat them like they're going to be an adult at some point, even at the age of 4 or 5. As when do you want this? And it can be really hard when you say to a child, do you want this now or do you want it later, but you only get one. And to say that to a 4 or 5-year-old can be quite hard to compete. But I think the more you can get them to understand that, the more they get the benefit and the reward at the same time as well.
Yeah,
that's definitely made me think about. I didn't maybe realize that they're going to be adult longer than the other children. Of course they are, but all you see is a child in front of you right now.
Yeah.
We don't think when they're going to be 30 years old.
No, and also we feel very protective of them, don't we, now? And it's like our job to make sure they're healthy and all the rest of it. We don't really think about that going forward.
Yeah.
But yeah, it kind of filters through.
Okay, that's definitely good to know.